Arsenal fans, this is not the news we wanted. Martin Ødegaard has suffered an MCL injury and the timing couldn't be any worse. But how serious is this injury? Who steps into his shoes as our leader, our captain, our playmaker? Let's break it all down. Welcome back to All About Arsenal. Today we're going to discuss about the unfortunate news we've learned. The Arsenal captain Martin Ødegaard has suffered a medial collateral ligament injury, and that's actually forced him out of Norway squad for the international break. Norway were set to play 2 games in this window with their captain Odegaard as one of their essential players. But unfortunately, he's not going to be part of them, and this came into light after Arsenal's 2-0 win over West Ham, where Odegaard was subbed early, after suffering that injury. So we need to discuss about this and just, think of the impact it's going to have in the team. So first things first, let's talk about how the injury happened. According to reports from Guardian, Reuters, and even the Arsenal website, this is a medial collateral ligament injury on his left knee. This is the ligament that actually stabilizes the inside of your knee. And depending on the grade of the damage, it can range from either 2 weeks to 2 months. Obviously, thank God it's not the ACL. ACL is the one that actually has a very long-term effect that goes as high as a year or 9 months. Because if you recall, our centre forward Gabriel Jesus suffered the ACL injury in January this year when we took on Manchester United, and he's still out of action. The expectation to come towards the tail end of the year. I strongly suspect that this injury took place when he clashed knees with Christensen Somerville. He tried to continue playing, but after a while, obviously, the adrenaline couldn't keep him up anymore and he hit the deck. And it was evident that he had to be substituted. And this is now the 3rd game in a row where our captain had been subbed before halftime. The first injury happened against Nottingham Forest or Leeds. It's Nottingham Forest. No, Nottingham Forest, then one other game, then the West Ham game. But I know he had been subbed 3 times in a row. Yes, so Nottingham Forest, the Leeds, Nottingham Forest, then West Ham. And this is not good. Arsenal hasn't reviewed the severity of the injury yet. But thank God, the early signs show that it's not a season-ending injury. But what we know for sure is that Odegaard will be sidelined for a while. So this injury now, of course, we're going to lose Odegaard for a couple of weeks or potentially months. But the question is, what's the impact of this injury? Odegaard is not just our captain, he's the heartbeat of the team. We know how he controls tempo. We know how he presses intelligently. We know how he links up with Saka, Martinelli, Timber, and White, as the case may be, and usually sets the tone for how things are going to be on and off the pitch. On Wednesday, when Arsenal played Olympiacos, Odegaard was basically the man of the match. He brought up that performance that was virtuoso in every sense of the word. 4 chances created, 2 big chances created, 4 shots, XG of 0.76. XL 0.79, a football rating of I think 8.9. It was basically amazing. He was someone that brought out that flair that we knew that he has in him, and we're looking forward to actually seeing him and Eze cook for the first time in the middle. This was that idea tactically of tackling a team with a very strong middle block like West Ham. But unfortunately, we didn't allow that happen because he suffered this injury, and we had to revert back to our usual setup. Even though it was good to see someone like Zubimendi come into the team and basically change the game, because it was Zubimendi that gave the pass to Eze, who fired the shot that was saved by Ariola before Declan Rice scored. And Zubimendi also gave the pass to Timber, who was fouled outside or inside the box, depending on how you want to look at it, for the Saka penalty. So Odegaard has had been contributing heavily in our team. So unfortunately, he has been out with injuries, and his absence will actually create a spark in terms of the impact he's going to give to us. That rhythm that we always get from him in tight games. We're not going to see that with Odegaard out injured. Well, we need to, think of how we can mitigate his absence, because thankfully, Arsenal has the right level of depth to handle such an injury. This brings me to the next part, which is our tactical adjustment and replacement. For those that noticed, when Odegaard got injured against Nottingham, we switched our play somewhat from our usual 4-3-3 that is flat with two eights, left eight and right eight, to a 4-2-3-1, which was on show when we played against Newcastle. Here, Ibrichi moved directly behind the Gyökeres rather than that right triangle with Saka, and we had Zubimendi and Declan Rice behind him. When Arsenal played West Ham, the idea was that Eze was going to be the left eight, linking up with Trossard and Calafiori, while Odegaard was supposed to be the right eight, linking up with Saka and Timber. When Odegaard suffered that injury and was substituted for Zubimendi, Arteta had to tweak his tactics, taking Eze to the number 10 role, while Declan Rice changed from a holding midfielder in 6 to a left eight, doing normal box-to-box surging, and of course Mendy was now at the base of the midfield. So with Odegaard out injured, clearly the main replacement would be Iberichi Eze, just like how the injury of Kai Havertz allowed Victor Gyökeres to play consistently. This injury to Odegaard will make Eze an undisputed mainstay on the team, bearing in mind now that he's going to be the main creative hub of the team. Eze is someone that is very adept to playing at the attacking midfielder, actually, and we're going to get to see him cook a lot in that position. But his minutes needs to be managed because after the international break, Arsenal takes on Fulham. After the Fulham game, I think we host Brighton. After Brighton, we play the beginning of the Premier League, then Slavia Prague. So we're going to have a consistent, Wednesday or Tuesday, midweek weekend, midweek weekend. And with Odegaard out injured, not knowing how long the injury will be so far, I don't think we want him to play every game. Which brings me to a certain Eze and Nwaneri, who is also another player that can actually play in the role. But Nwaneri will play more as a right eight rather than as a 10 per se. But obviously, we've signed him on a long-term contract, made him clear to him that he's going to be Odegaard's heir apparent. And unlike last season, when Odegaard suffered that ankle injury in Norway and we did not have a right replacement by playing Trossard in the middle, that's not going to happen this time. We're going to see either Iberichi Eze or Eze and Nwaneri playing that role, and they can shuffle it among themselves equally. I believe that Arsenal has the depth to handle such a monumental loss, and I'm happy to see that the players that are going to take Odegaard's place are of equal and good quality. So looking at the big picture and the title race, let's be honest, this is a setback. With Odegaard out, we're going to lose his leadership, we're going to lose his energy, and of course that calmness under pressure that we get sometimes in midfield, especially in high-stake games, will not be there again. But this is also a perfect test of Arsenal's depth. Arsenal has been tested with their depth so far this season. When Noni Madueke suffered that terrible injury, and we have the likes of Bukayo Saka, who is actually a better player. Oh, sorry, it's like a plane or helicopter flying over where I am right now, so that's what's causing that additional sound. I think I could just go down a bit to allow it pass. I don't know why it's affecting me, what I'm saying. But going back, Noni Madueke suffered that terrible injury, and we had Bukayo Saka to come in, and there's also Max Dowman, who can also play in that position. Ben White has been out injured for quite a while, and we have Julian Timber, who plays very well as a right back. We have a certain Christian Mosquera, who has featured as a right back as well. And if you want to go to the youth setup, you can get Josh Nichols in the position as well. Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus have been out injured too. But we have a certain Victor Gyökeres, who is leading the line. And we have a Mikel Merino, who can also play as a centre forward. Then the Trossard can even play as a false nine if required. So what I'm really, really happy about this is that in the big picture and compared to our title race, Arsenal has the right level of depth to mitigate this injury to Odegaard. But we really need the likes of Rice, Eze, and Nwaneri to step up. Yes, we can ride out this period and keep winning, and to say a lot about our mentality. I'm really grateful to see the level of depth that we have in the squad now, and it's something that is worth lauding. Andrea Beta did very well with the signings we made this summer, and obviously you can see that they're coming into the fore. So how long will this injury be? How long will Odegaard be out for? Best case, for a MCL injury is 2 to 3 weeks. Moderate case is like 4 to 6 weeks. And of course, worst case is 2 months plus. And that's if there's a significant tear in the MCL and if he might require surgery. So Arsenal just said that they're going to be monitoring the situation. I think I need to read the exact quotes that Arsenal said for released for this injury. So give me a second, let me get it out. And I read it this morning. So what Arsenal said was Odegaard has been withdrawn from the Norway national team for the upcoming matches against Israel and New Zealand after sustaining a medial collateral ligament injury to the left knee during the first half of Saturday's win over West Ham. Martin will continue to be assessed and treated by a medical team at the Sober Realty Training Center during the international window, with the aim to return to action as soon as possible. So clearly on the official side, there's no timeline that has been put. They just said as soon as possible, but as soon as possible can mean anything. So we'll just work with the three scenarios: best case, moderate case, and worst case. And we'll keep tracking the updates with the medical team as we get more clarity. But until then, all we can do is back the team and hope our captain recovers quickly. So let me know in the comments who should replace Odegaard in the lineup. I'm guessing Eze and Nwaneri. If you enjoyed this comment, if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe for more Arsenal content, and turn on the notifications, because at this channel we'll continue to keep ourselves abreast of what's going on in the international break. Arsenal has a couple of players that have been called up from their respective nations, with Odegaard withdrawing from that, and obviously we're going to cover them, see how they're going, and just pray and hope that there will be no more injuries. So till then,